Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another Brotato Danger 5 random run, where we take a random character, random weapon, and try to beat Danger 5 with it. Hope you're all doing well. I had a lot of fun doing a random run recently, so I thought I'd throw in a few more of these. Let's roll and see what character we've got. And we have the Engineer. Now, Engineer, of course, is a character with some dangerous rolls. If we get Hammer, then we're going to be kind of in trouble, because getting to the point where you can get multiple hammers is really difficult, and buying enough damage on the Engineer to make your hammers work can become very challenging. Now, we do have the advantage that we now have pets available. So there's a couple more ways to deal damage that aren't just the one hammer that we're going to be stuck with for a while. So hopefully we can make that work. Oh, it looks like I had recently done a Crash Zone run, and I didn't change it to Abyssal Terrors, so you know what? We'll do Crash Zone. I haven't played Crash Zone in a bit, other than that one run, so we'll just do another one. I'll roll here and take 5 harvesting, and then I'm going to sell the wrench, because where a hammer's only run, the random challenge that I do is you can only use the weapon that you rolled. Do I want Corrupted Shard? I think it's a little too dangerous early. I'm going to ban Jelly, but I'll leave Corrupted Shard in the pool, and then I'm going to do a couple rerolls. I'm looking for ways to kill enemies in the early game, so I'm looking for landmines, I'm looking for rats, and turrets, of course. I'm going to ban the baby elephant as well, and then I'll do another reroll. Coffee, I think I will just buy. We can never roll a second hammer in this shop, so we usually want to buy at least one item here. And then I'm going to ban these two. And I'm re-rolling a few times because I would really like to find some good economy items. But buying the coffee is good enough. The extra attack speed in the early game will help our hammer carry us through these early waves. I think in general, Crash Zone is actually very slightly harder than the Abyss for really difficult random weapon challenges like this one. And the reason is that there's a couple breakpoints in Crash Zone that don't exist in the Abyss that are pretty difficult to overcome. So even though you get more money, it can be harder to have your character survive some of the more difficult waves in Crash Zone. I'll take 5 harvesting here, and we are now at the point where we could roll into another hammer. Level 2 weapons, hammer is level 2 or higher, and level 2 weapons don't appear in the first shop, but they can show up in shop 2. They're not that likely to, though, so I'm not going to reroll too much here. I'm going to ban Boxing Glove, and I think I'll ban Baby Gecko as well. There will be times where we leave materials on the ground, but I don't really want to spend money on this, and I really want to roll into other items that can help us clear these early waves. So let's go ahead and ban Small Fish as well. Duct Tape is worth leaving in the pool. Glasses I'll ban. And Helmet, I'm not going to buy. I was really hoping to find just any good economy item, but this is exactly what I wanted. A turret is going to help a ton. As the Engineer, of course, we benefit a lot from engineering, so if we get a couple turrets and landmines, then the fact that we are using a bad weapon won't matter as much. I still don't want the pencil, though, just for the one turret, and I think I will save some money here. The reasoning for that, of course, is that I want enough money to buy a hammer, if we happen to roll into one, and it's a very, very expensive weapon. So we need to save our money in the early game. Go break the tree here. The coffee is doing a lot of work for us, honestly. The extra attack speed matters so much. So once we get a couple more weapons, we'll be in much better shape. There's no way I don't think I can kill the loot alien there, so I'm gonna not go after that. 3 engineering, which of course is increased by the engineer's passive, we get plus 25%, so it's 3.75 engineering, is tempting, but I think I'm gonna roll here, and ooh, these are all very interesting levels. I was hoping for harvesting, of course, but all of these level 2 level ups are really good. So I could take 10 attack speed, the same reasoning that we took the coffee. Max HP could help us avoid getting burst down, and movement speed really matters, especially because we are using a blunt weapon, but I think the attack speed is going to matter the most, so I'll take that. I'll take the harvesting. I'll buy another coffee, but I do need to roll a lot into another weapon here, so I'm going to pass on the book, pass on the penguin as well, because it's a very good item, but a very expensive one for us. And then I'm going to roll a few times looking for more hammers, or of course more turrets, landmines, things like that. But we'll buy fertilizer. Obviously, that's going to make us a lot of extra money. These two are really good items, both the coffee and the helmet. I think I will lock another coffee here. I will pass on locking the helmet, but I'm going to reroll because, yeah, we have a guaranteed weapon every shop. And so there's a good chance we roll into a hammer as, even if we have an item locked, as indeed happened. And then we'll buy the fertilizer, we'll buy the coffee. I have reduced the damage of my hammers, but the engineer all damage modifiers are reduced by 50%. So buying these fertilizers and coffees that normally reduce your damage by more doesn't matter as much for the engineer. So obviously we're hoping for bottom mines, we're hoping for rats, we're hoping for bonk dogs. We'll probably end up buying some melee damage, even though we buy it at half rate. But we're, I would say, in okay shape at this point. A second hammer definitely helps a lot. Can we get this tree kill? I think so. No, I was just short of the attack speed to kill it. Okay, so I think I will take 8 more harvesting. I think going up to 40 harvesting in the early game is going to help out a lot. At this point, I will need to start building defensive stats, but now that we've got 43 harvesting, the fact that our clear speed is going to be somewhat weak doesn't matter as much. Is it worth picking up the loot worm? It can help me get these tree kills. I think probably it is, and then I'll roll twice looking for more hammers. I missed, but I'll take a propeller hat. Metal detector, I'm going to pass on, because I need to have enough money to buy hammers when they show up in the shop. Maybe the loot worm isn't great here. I was thinking that we'll probably end up with a bunch of structures, and in the late game, we will likely transition to a normal engineering build with a bunch of structures and bottom mines and stuff like that, and just use the hammers basically to defend ourselves. And the loot worm going out and killing trees for us can be very helpful in that scenario. But I'm not certain that that's going to make the most sense long term, because, or that makes the most sense in the short term, because the loot worm's very expensive. So we'll see if it works out. I'll buy 2 armor here just so I don't die. More coffees, that's great. Okay, well, I definitely want all of these items, but the question is, do I need to roll for a weapon? Because I'm gonna end up not being able to buy a weapon if I buy all 3 of these. I think it's okay to buy these 3, and then I will roll. Okay, we got a level 3 hammer. That's pretty nice. I'm actually gonna throw in one more reroll, because we can roll into a level 2 hammer, even though we have a level 3 locked in the shop. And Starfish is very dangerous, but this is a way to get our economy really rolling. So I'll lock that, and I'll do one more reroll looking for a hammer. We missed, but we'll go ahead and buy the Scar as well for even more economy. The level 3 hammer is a nice find, because even though we are not going to have that much damage, the level 3 hammer's base damage is really high and can help us clear enemies in one swing. Even though we aren't building that much damage this run so far. I'm gonna go grab the consumable here. Need to be fairly careful about my positioning. Of course, we only have 2 weapons. The Starfish I might not be able to get away with next wave, just sort of seeing how this is working out. I've put myself in a really awkward spot there, so I need to have good movement to escape. I moved in and let all of those enemies surround me, which was very bad. I'll take 15 attack speed here. High attack speed matters a ton for this run, because hammer is such a slow attacking weapon, and then we'll take 2 more armor. I'll buy the hammer. I think I need to take the Terrified Onion here, because I don't want negative movement speed. So I'll buy these 2, and then I will roll. Again, was looking for another hammer, but we'll leave the Starfish locked, and then we'll go to the next wave again. I really need to kill the eggs as much as possible this wave. With only 3 weapons, trying to kill the slashers is going to be very challenging. So we're going to focus on taking out the eggs if possible. If 1 or 2 slashers spawn, it's not that big a deal, but we definitely need to focus on killing at least some of the eggs. This one spawned in a really awkward spot for us. I also have no healing currently, so I'll need that. Though because we're on Crash Zone and not the Abyss, healing is typically less critical on Crash Zone because enemy attacks are just a little bit easier to avoid and do less damage. So you're less incentivized to try to like tank through what enemies are doing and can usually play more offensively on this map. Yeah, I'm going to keep buying attack speed when it's available. So now the question is, do I buy Starfish? We're going to Wave 8. Wave 8 has a lot of high health enemies. It's a bad farming wave, and increasing enemy damage is really dangerous. On the other hand, this is a way that we can keep our economy strong, so I think I will buy that. We'll buy the turret. I've gotten a truly ridiculous number of coffees this run, but I'm going to keep buying them. Do I want a tree here? I guess so. And then I will roll. I'm going to actually not lock any of these because I need to re-roll and look for turrets, bottom mines, and of course more weapons. Second turret is a nice find. With 2 turrets, we can actually invest a little bit into engineering, which I was hesitant to buy before. So even though the last shop had a lot of good items in it, I didn't want to lock them because we need to reroll for specific things at this point. We've bought a lot of just generically strong items, although having the really high attack speed from the coffees is very, very helpful. Unfortunately, a hammer has such high knockback that it's going to make it really hard to kill this loot alien. Because I will punt it across the map every time I hit it. So I don't think we're going to get that. Taking 8 damage a hit, even with the Starfish, that's not so bad. But it is, I am losing a lot of money here. Obviously, needed to walk into the big group of enemies and hit them right at the end there. Take the Shady Potion, I'll roll here, and we'll take 2 more armor. And then I could buy 3 melee damage. I could take 9 movement speed. That'll help fix my move speed. I could take even more attack speed, but I think let's buy the movement speed here. We'll take a turret. I'll roll. Finally found another hammer. That's really nice, and we'll buy a bag, and then we will roll again, lock another hammer, buy a coupon, and I'll do 1 more reroll. Triangle of Power, we don't really want on this character. We only get 10% damage from it, which is still good, and we only lose 1 when we take a hit, but it's just a very expensive item for something that doesn't help that much. And we will, especially if we get an incendiary turret or an explosive turret or a pocket factory, something like that, we're going to want to transition to more of an engineering focus soon. As you can see, the damage from our weapons is only sort of keeping up with the enemy waves at this point. But having 4 of them and plus 100% attack speed is really nice. So we're definitely happy with all the attack speed that we've bought. 1 or 2 points of consumable heal would go such a long way toward making our run easy here. But we made 700 materials that wave, which, of course, is because of the harvesting that we've got, because of the Starfish, and because it's Wave 9 Crash Zone, which is a great farming wave. Losing 3% damage for 10% attack speed, we're actually pretty happy with that. And then, unfortunately, crit chance I don't think is that important to us, so I'm just going to take 2 armor here, and then 9 maximum health. We'll now buy all of this shop, which is great, and then we'll reroll. I really don't love capping my move speed at 4, but I think we need the shackles anyways. The stats are incredibly important, the regen and engineering, and 80 range is actually very relevant to this short-range melee weapon as well, with a wide swing arc. So picking up the shackles, I think, makes a lot of sense here. I'm going to reroll and take a lure. Fried rice, we don't currently have a way to set things on fire, so it might be nice if later on, but currently doesn't do anything, so we're going to pass on it. Going to pass on all the damage items. I will definitely take the medical turret, and Poisonous Tonic we'll pick up as well. Attack speed, still important, even though we have 100%, and we'll buy the mushroom. Landmines we'll take also. I'm also deliberately avoiding getting cursed, which is why I'm passing on these corrupted shards. On Crash Zone, it's hard to build up enough curse that you can reliably get cursed items. And what you don't want to do is have really dangerous cursed enemies spawning. Some of the chargers and ribcage enemies, cursed tentacles have a ridiculous amount of health. So curse is both harder to use and more dangerous, I think, in general on Crash Zone. We should be able to get at least one of these loot alien kills if I can, like, pin it into the corner here. Yeah. It did cost me some clear speed on the middle, but I should be able to get both of them, I think. Let's... Oh, there's actually 3 loot aliens. This is where we needed the audio cue from the whistle. Alright, where's the other one? It's down on the right here, so I'm going to try to knock it into the corner. That one we'd already done a bunch of damage to, so it died in one swing. And we're still making good money while also getting 4 boxes that wave. Improved tools, well, that is phenomenal. We've built so much attack speed, so any structures we get are going to be ridiculously strong now. Rip and Tear, I think I do want... We're not going to build much melee damage, but when it shows up for 79... Actually, for 79, I just don't think it's worth it. Okay, well, I know I said I was avoiding Curse, but Barnacle is too good to pass, so we will take that and we'll start getting Curse at this point. And then here, I'm going to take 5 Regeneration, do a reroll, and we'll take 21% damage, so that's halved to 10.5% damage. I could also just take 20 luck, but I think the percent damage is actually still pretty good here. We'll buy Gentle Alien and Poisonous Shard now that or Poisonous Tonic. Now that I have Barnacle, so we're going to be getting Curse anyways, I could take the Corrupted Shard. I think it's still not really worth it. Once you've gone in on 1 Starfish, you should usually buy more of them, because you need now to be really ahead of the power curve. So we'll buy Starfish, we'll take the Wheat, and then we'll buy both of these, take our reroll, lock a Hammer, which is great. Padding, I do need more max HP, but it's pretty inefficient. Power Generator, we only get half value of the from the damage from that, and we're capped at 4 move speed, so we won't be buying much more, so I think we'll pass on that. Blazemander I will take, though, and the Penguin I'll take as well. Blazemander is not going to be super strong in terms of damage, but we passed a Fried Rice earlier. There's a couple fire synergy items we could use. And basically, we intend to start turning into a splash damage build, and a structure-based damage build. We'll find, hopefully, a pocket factory. We've got improved tools, so our structures are really strong. So any damage that I can get around the map, if it's in okay amounts, is going to be really good. Now, I do need to be really careful here. You saw how much it hurt when we did take a hit, because we have double Starfish, so enemy damage is ridiculous. I can kill the Curse Alien now, because we're building Curse at this point. Even when you're normally avoiding trying to get Curse, if you see, Barnacle, Black Flag, that type of item, you should usually take it. Rip and Tear I'm still passing on, I think. I'll take a Cyclops Worm, even for 12% damage. We'll buy the 20% attack speed here. I'm going to reroll looking for a level 3 upgrade, and we did find 5 more regeneration. Finally got our full weapon set here, which is great, and then we'll buy these. I don't want to reduce my armor, so we'll reroll here. We'll buy a coffee. We'll roll again. Is it worth upgrading my hammers? We've actually ended up with them being more of our damage than I was kind of expecting, so I think I will do that. We'll buy Cyberball to go with our structures and our splash damage, and we'll pick up the incendiary turret. Ghost outfit I'm passing on, but Tentacle is actually pretty good healing for us, so I'll pick that up as well. We're not going to build dodge this run, most likely, unless we get a bunch for free. If I found cape, I would start building dodge. Maybe there's a couple other items that would make me interested in dodge, but otherwise we're not going to be building it. Just armor and regeneration. So I wouldn't mind a decent melee damage upgrade. But at this point, we're starting to get pretty strong. With double starfish, this horde wave should be a lot of money for us. And I've now got an okay cluster of structures here. What I'm really looking for is a bottom mine. I'm looking for piercing shots. And of course, we're looking for pocket factory, as you are for any structure build. Obviously, we want to roll here. And I do have a tentacle, but 4 armor is too good to pass on. I think I will take 4 melee damage here. Although I could also roll, we could get 4 armor, we could get 5 regeneration. It's 4 melee damage, of course, because the engineer halves all damage that you buy. I think taking 4 melee damage is pretty good. Hammer has increased melee damage scaling, so even small amounts can increase your total damage by a lot. And as you can see, as we level it up, our hammer's damage goes up by a lot. So it is still a relevant damage source for us. Sunken Bell. Do I want this? 350 damage on the explosion, I think is just not worth spending 150 on. It's pretty expensive. We'll take the fried rice because, of course, we bought the Blazemander, so it's worth some regeneration. We also have an incendiary turret, and we'll probably get some more stuff to go with it. Wave 13, do I think I can get away with Weird Ghost with 23 regeneration? I think I do. And we'll take the metal and the metal detector. And we'll roll here, which of course in my accent sound identical. We'll buy the hammer and we'll buy another cyber ball. Insanity, I should buy. We do have a tentacle. So crit chance is worth picking up here. Yeah, with our medical turret and 23 regen, we've got okay luck. So even though we don't have any consumable healing, we should be able to heal back to full pretty quickly. And we did need the HP, so the Weird Ghost made a lot of sense to buy there. Blazemander is usually worth about like 5 or 6 regeneration, because it's just setting groups of enemies on fire. And we do have double gentle alien, and we're on crash zone, so there's more enemies on the field in general. I didn't talk about this when I passed it. We passed a plastic explosive to increase explosion size. We have 1 landmine that cares about explosions right now. We might end up with an explosive turret later on, but buying increased explosion size for just some very, very minimal components of our setup does not make much sense. But people always ask about that item. I'll buy the fruit basket here. I still don't need lifesteal, and we have a recycling machine, so it's good to recycle things. I could take 8% damage here. That's not bad. Let's actually just do that. Catling gun, do I want that? It's fairly cheap. It does 15 damage, and it can sit in our turret field, and it basically is 1 more level 1 turret, because it does about half as much damage, but fires roughly twice as often. So I think the Catling gun is okay. All right. The level 4 hammer, super expensive, but it does do 160 damage a swing, so I do think it's worth buying. I'll take the cauldron here, and I will buy more crit chance. Increasing our critical hit is a way that we can increase our damage output without buying damage. Since this character buys damage at half rate, buying melee damage or percentage damage is difficult, but attack speed and crit chance, we can still make pretty good use of. Trying to make sure that I'm clearing the goobers as they spawn, because we don't want too many projectiles to appear. But at this point, our defenses are pretty good. This, it's really funny doing this run, because when I think almost 2 years ago, when I first started doing random challenges, Engineer with Hammer is one of the ones that I got relatively early, and I just couldn't do it. I was unable to get the win here. And now, turns out, if you do something every day for multiple years, you do get better at it. Not only are we doing pretty well, this is I'm not going to say an easy run, but we're having not a tremendous amount of difficulty with it. Do I want 3 engineering from the reinforced steel? I think not. I'll roll past that. I'll take the hammer here. I will buy snail. Our move speed is negative, or our move speed is capped at 4. So slowing enemy movement speed is one of the ways that we can increase our sort of relative move speed to the enemies. Fertilizer, even this late, is still good. It's going to give me a lot of levels, or it'll help me level up, hit level 25 and everything with our barnacle, which we want to do. Jelly shield I will take as well. I think if we get a second jelly shield, which this is a pretty high economy run now with double starfish. So there's a decent chance we roll into one at some point. And if you get a second one, it helps a lot against the bosses. Killing the bosses quickly is going to be a challenge, and we have gotten lucky to have double horde wave this run as well, because elites are what we're really worried about, but the jelly shields will help out with elite. I did also ban Baby Elephant early, and then we've been buying Cyber Balls. That's something that people might wonder about, but banning the early items so that we got the important items is way more important than the potential to buy a kind of mediocre mid-game item. Toxic Sludge, 1 elemental damage. I think I'll just recycle that, and then I'm going to reroll. Usually you want to reroll until you get a level 3 or higher upgrade when you are... when you have Barnacle, because that's when the 35% is most impactful. I'm going to keep rolling. Okay, we'll take 12% more crit chance, and then I'll roll again, take 20% attack speed. That's perfect. Buy both of these, and then we'll roll. I'll re-roll here. How much value will I get out of the baby squid? I think enough to buy, and of course we'll take the potato. That's exactly the type of stats that we need at this point. I do think it's actually worth buying the pencil here, and plastic explosive still doesn't do very much for us. Lighthouse is pretty good. We have a bunch of structures, but it's still a lot of engineering. So I'll take the incendiary turret and coil, I'll lock a level 4 hammer, and we will buy Lighthouse as well. For 35, I don't think we want to reroll here. Lighthouse is nice because it's going to keep the relevance of our structures much higher, even if we then reduce the engineering that we're getting from it later on. It's a great tempo item, and it will work really well if we get a really good engineering item like an explosive turret or a bottom mine or, of course, a pocket factory. And yes, pocket factory does work with Lighthouse. It only counts as 1 structure no matter how many turrets spawn. I do like our loot worm going off and killing trees for us, especially because we have very low movement speed, so it's very helpful. But what's really working out well for us in this run is just the double starfish. We're just making so much money every wave. We'll recycle that. We'll take the helmet here. I'll take 5 more armor. Very rare that it's wrong to just pick up 5 armor. And then I'll buy the hammer, buy the lighthouse. I could take wisdom, so we get minus 7.5% damage here and plus 2.5 every second. We probably will not be killing, or every 5 seconds. We probably will not be killing the elites fast, so wisdom I think is still worth buying. We'll buy the hammer here, and then I'll lock scared sausage because we have a fried rice, so any fire that we can set is valuable. So with my high critical chance and very high attack speed, we should be able to, and a bunch of high-level hammers, we should be able to kill the elite just with our weapons, and indeed we were able to do so. So maybe I didn't actually need the wisdom there. We killed the elite so quickly that the wisdom was a net negative. I kind of underestimated how much damage we'd be doing, but given that we have all of these level 4 hammers, and we have super high crit chance, and like 150% attack speed or something. I mean, obviously this run would look a lot different if we hadn't found like 20 copies. If you find 1 million copies of the best item in the game, then things are going to look a little different. I'll take the octopus here. Yes, crit chance is something that we're doing, but max HP, HP regen, and lifesteal are also pretty useful. A bottom mine, we've talked about how much we want one of those, so that's great. That will help us with these elite kills. And then I'll just take 12 max HP just to make sure that my health hits 100 or so before the end of the wave. We're very happy to find a weird food as well. And is it worth buying cake or snake? Or a snake cake? Not what I would, order, but maybe some people are into it. I think it's not worth buying either of them. We have a lot of HP, and the burning effect is just for spreading... the burning effects that we're using is just for fried rice. I'm going to roll here, and we'll take another bottom mine and a laser turret. We are losing engineering when we buy these, but that's okay. Then we'll roll again, and we'll lock a metal plate. And for 42, I don't need to reroll. With 170 attack speed, is it worth buying fresh meat? I think it actually is. Normally, of course, you would never buy lifesteal on hammer. It's a short-range melee weapon with a really slow swing speed, but we have 170% attack speed and positive range, like pretty heavily positive range. So we can use lifesteal more than most versions of this build can. It also works with our cats and bottom mines, so, and our blaze mander. So lifesteal is actually pretty good for our healing. This is honestly such a sick run, actually. Like, so many things have gone well or had really interesting results. And of course, this is still one of the harder random challenges that you can roll. Hammer on engineer is not a synergistic weapon. Oh, I stood on those red X's and respawned the goobers elsewhere. When you stand on one of the X's, the enemy just spawns again in a random place on the map. So you usually want to avoid doing that with the goobers, because then they'll spawn somewhere where you can't get them immediately and start doing damage to you. I'll take the bait there. 4% damage isn't much, but we don't care about the lampreys. And then I think 5 melee damage is still really good. We'll buy the pencil. Do I want the bait again? I think not at full price, and not when we already have one. Silver Bullet, it's only 12.5% damage against the elites, because this character has the damage multiplier, but it's still good. Robot Arm is just +3 melee and +3 engineering, so we don't want that, but another bottom mine, sure, now they're all showing up, and then we'll roll. Lumberjack shirt, do I want that? Yeah, it's probably worth picking up. Mostly because if we find a Pocket Factory, it's going to be pretty good. You could also easily pass it there, and I don't think it would be wrong, but in this case, I wanted to grab it just because we're really just trying to set up for the end game. So what I want is structures, I want attack speed, and I want defenses. And the Lumberjack shirt will work well if we find Pocket Factory. If we don't, it was a wasted purchase, but it was only, like, 50 materials or whatever. Yep, 5 more melee damage and then 2 more armor so that we, again, don't get popped in the end game here. We'll reroll this. I don't need any of these. I guess Dock Moth is pretty good. We have 30 regen, so if we get in trouble, the Dock Moth can keep us alive. It does cost me an engineering, but I'll buy the garden as well for the same reason. We'll take the mushroom, and then I will roll, take a medical turret. So I'm spending some engineering on these from our lighthouse, but lighthouse is still 6 engineering, which you would buy lighthouse probably if it just gave 6 engineering. So people, I think, are too afraid to buy this item a lot of the time. Sharp bullet, I definitely want, but do I want bloody hand more? We don't have a triangle of power. I passed on one. This gives me basically 17% damage and 10 more lifesteal, so I think it's definitely worth buying the bloody hand here. Because we get up to 17 lifesteal, get 2% damage, but that's halved, so we get plus 17% damage. Our percent damage is fairly low, so every point counts for a lot. And 17 lifesteal when our healing is good, but not phenomenal, is very much welcome. So now I should be able to stack on the bosses here. And we'll try to keep them on our structures and near our dock moth so that we can kill them as quickly as possible. All right, well, that was a sick run. That one was really fun. Engineer with hammer. I really recommend that run. I think it was really enjoyable, especially on Crash Zone where you get a little more money to play with. Taking a look at our weapons here, or our items here, 6 coffees. And, you know, it is admittedly hard to lose if you find 4 fertilizers and 6 coffees. Those were some pretty ridiculous shops in the early game. But of course, we were happy to buy those. The turrets were very good, 75k damage from those. Double starfish that early as well was a lot of money. Our loot worm for plus 124, so not bad there. Bag for 285 and coupon for 400, and recycling machine 267, so it was pretty solid as well. 140 healing from the medical turrets, and actually 25k damage from our landmines. Surprisingly high damage from these. These usually do not perform this well, but in this run they did. We got 13 bonus levels from the barnacle, so it was a ridiculous amount of stats, even if we only got the 1 cursed item throughout the game. 12k damage from the Blazemander, honestly not bad, especially because we weren't intending to build around it. And then 33k from Cyberball, 70k from Incendiary Turret. Jelly Shield was pretty bad here. You really need 2 or 3 of these to make it a worthwhile investment. And the Catling Gun was not great, though it was still fine. It dealt a little less damage than one of the turrets did, so it ended up being an okay investment. I guess like 3/5 of the damage of one of the turrets. Baby Squid was worth 5 regen, so it was still pretty good. And Bottom Mines, we got those late, but they dealt 30k damage, and the laser turret for 15. Alright, my friends, I hope that you enjoyed this run, and of course, if you have, feel free to leave a comment and hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm, so I appreciate you taking the time to do that. And of course, you can subscribe to my channel for more Brotato and other strategy game analysis. Here's folks, I'll catch you next time.